I work in a large hotel where we host conferences, and we have a lot of people come in that think that God just shit him out as a gift to the world. And this one guy in particular, we're going to call him the talker because that's literally all he wanted to do. Love the sound of his own voice. He had come in the night prior and he ordered a couple beers and he just sat at the bar with his buddy, but then he left. He came back in the next night complaining about the fact that his flight was canceled and he couldn't leave and he was stuck in this crappy town, just being like a real dick about the fact that he was stuck in this town. He ordered a couple of beers and the hostess said, "Do you want menus?" He said, "Nope, we're just going to go sit in the dining room. Is that okay? We'd like the view over there more." Like, sure, yeah, that's okay. They go into a quiet dining room and they're sitting there just dropping the F-bombs, being crass AF. And I have to go over as the bartender dropping off the beer. I'm like, "Hey, do you guys think that you could keep it down? Like, we do have a family over here that's like finds your language inappropriate." And he's just like, "So what? Move their table." Okay, so we move the table and I do ask him to keep it down and he was like, "Yeah, okay, I guess we can do that." I go back over a couple minutes later. I was like, "Hey, your beers are getting kind of low. Do you want me to go ahead and grab you a new one?" They're like, "No, we're just having a few drinks and we're just sitting here having a good time." Okay, so I go back to the bar a couple minutes later. They're sitting there waving frantically. I go over and I was like, "Hey, gentlemen, everything okay over here?" They're like, "Yeah, we're out of our drinks. Like, you're not going to refill our beer for us?" I'm pretty sure I just asked you if you want a beer. And then the guy, like the talker, he gets up and he leaves while I'm grabbing his beer. I don't know where he goes, nor do I give a fuck because it's a reprieve for me. He comes back a couple minutes later with a bottle of wine he had bought the night before because we are allowed to let them bring their wine back to the room. He comes back with his bottle of wine and I was like, "Hey sir, you're actually not allowed to have that in here." He's like, "Why? I bought it here." And I was like, "Yep, we're allowed to package it up for to go, but you're not allowed to bring it back in." And he's just like, "Well, I paid for it, so I'm gonna go ahead and drink it here. Can you bring us a couple wine glasses?" "No, I cannot do that for you. You're actually gonna have to put it away." And he's giving me attitude and I was like, "I could just bring in a new bottle of wine and then you can drink that one." And then he like puts his he bottles up the wine and I'm like, "I'm not gonna make you bring it back to your room," which typically we would have done. I'm like, "I'm gonna trust you, just go ahead and set it off to the side." So he sets it off to the side and I'm just keeping an eye on him because this whole time I'm like, they're probably gonna open that up and start drinking it. Anyways, I go back over to see how everything's going with the wine and he's like, "Are you even gonna ask us if we want food? Nobody even gave us a menu. Nobody even asked us if we were hungry. Are you fucking kidding me? I literally heard the host ask if you wanted menus and you told her no." Anyways, this man was disgusting. He was endless and he was sitting there giving such attitude about the freaking bottle of wine. He tried at one point to open the bottle of wine and drink out of the bottle of wine. Bro, I literally just told you that you cannot do that. Anyways, at the end of the meal, I go, "Okay, do you guys want to get anything else? Do you want some dessert?" And he's like, "Oh, you know what? I'm really full." And he turns to his friend, he goes, "But Fatty here might want to grab some dessert." Are you freaking kidding me? This man was disgusting. He used to come in all the time, unfortunately, and we would have to see him a lot, unfortunately. But yeah, he did not drink his bottle of wine, and he was gross. But he did leave me a 20% tip, which I guess was kind of cool.